Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am Tijuana Clifton, Marketing Communications Manager at the South Carolina MBDA Business Center. It is a pleasure to have you join us today. I will be the moderator for today's event. That means that I will be manning the chat room, gathering your questions, and make sure they all get answered. So as we go through the presentation, please put your questions in the chat box, and I will make certain that we get to them at the end of the session. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Camille Shaw. She is the director of the South Carolina MBDA Business Center. Camille?
Thank you, Tijuana. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Camille Shaw, and I serve as project director for the South Carolina MBDA Business Center. We appreciate your willingness to participate in today's training. As you may be aware, several small and minority businesses did not receive funding for the first round of the PPP CARES funding. For the second round, which is scheduled to open next week, we realize that you play a vital part in partnering with your clients in providing them with quarterly revenue, which may determine their eligibility. So today we thought it was proper and fitting to provide you with updates regarding the second round of the PPP funding to make sure that the minority businesses get the assistance and funding that they need to survive. But before we begin, let me tell you briefly about our MBDA Business Center. We are one of several network of business centers throughout the U.S. that provide strategic consulting services to small minority businesses. We assist our clients in helping them to scale up and build capacity. We serve as business consultants to help minority business grow to the next level, as well as meet the challenges of today's changing business climate. So that brings us back to why we are here today, which is to partner with you to help the minority business community succeed. First, I want to thank our sponsors for supporting us with this endeavor. That includes the City of Columbia, Office of Business Opportunity, Benedict College Women Business Center, Optus Bank, and the Beaufort County Black Chamber of Commerce. So at this time, I will turn the program back over to Tijuana to moderate today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Camille. When the next round of PPP was announced, we at the South Carolina MBDA Business Center were determined, as Camille said, to make sure that as many small and minority-owned businesses as possible were included in the process. We did not want anyone to be left out this time. And we recognize the importance of bookkeepers in that process. We also recognize that bookkeepers may or may not be able to keep track of every development as it pertains to PPP and COVID-19 guidelines. But guess what? We are. That is our job. That is what we do. So we want to be a resource to you because we both are committed to small and minority-owned businesses. This is a great opportunity for us to work together. You work with your clients and we work with you. So please, we're asking you to lean on us. Let us know what you need. Call us. We will do whatever we can to help you help your clients. So with that, I want to bring on today's presenter. Anthony Washington is the Senior Financial Analyst for the South Carolina MBDA Business Center. Anthony has more than 25 years of experience, and he has worked in government and in the private sector providing these services. Anthony has been immersed in the PPP process since it was first announced. He keeps abreast of changes so that we can guide our clients effectively. He has the knowledge to share with you so that you can be a resource for your client. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Anthony. Anthony?
Thank you, Tijuana. First, we're going to discuss some changes to the second round of PPP. The PP loans will now not be included as a taxable income. The expenses in the PP loan will not be included as taxable income. They add additional expenses that qualify for your PPP and preparing your client PPP loan application. Payments include software, cloud computing services, facilities that for your business operations, accounting fees from third parties, product service delivery, processing of payments or tracking payment expenses, HR and billing functions that are third party, account tracking and supplies, inventory and recorded records and expenses. Also, additional expenses you can count as part of your PPP is worker protection expenses. Maybe you had to put a drive-through window in, put up plastic. One of your clients had put up plastic guards in their stores or venues, and the purchase of the actual PPP for your clients' employees. Also, if any of your clients had looting during the that's not covered by insurance of the property, can be considered as a part of PPP funds. Next slide. The new changes also, even though they added more costs as far as you can count for your PPP, the minimum cost has to be 40% of non-payroll items. That did not change. If you receive the EIDL loan in your grant, it doesn't account against your PPP forgiveness loan anymore. It doesn't reduce the amount of the grant. Loan forgiveness period is still 18 to 24 weeks after organization of the loan. And 501s, if you got any clients that are 501c3, 6 nonprofit organizations, they now can be considered for PPP loan. The loan forgiveness is simplified to one page, hopefully. That's a loans of $150,000 or less. Next slide. The second round PPP draw. The eligibility for the second round PPP draw is you got to have employees of less than 300 employees. You must experience a loss of 25% reduction in gross receipts during the first, second, third, or fourth quarter in 2012 relatively to your sales in 2019. I've done a sort of like a sample that you can check, and you can, if you want this little worksheet, we can send it out to your clients to help you assist if your clients do qualify for PP second round of PPP. This is, you can tell whether it's a accrued basis, a cash basis accrual. You would check one, put the date, and then you would put in the sales by the quarter. For this example, the first quarter 2019 was 50,000. The second quarter of 2019 was 55. So they did better in 2019. Second quarter, they made 45,000. The second quarter of 2020, they've made $30,000. So that's a 33% drop in sales. The third quarter is 35,000. Third quarter of 2020 is 30,000. So that was only 14%. The fourth quarter, they made 55,000. The fourth quarter 2020, they made 45,000, and that's only 18%. But during the second quarter of that year, they did qualify for the PPP because their sales dropped more than 25%. Next slide. Additional eligibility criteria is that your clients should not have significant ties to China. They are ineligible for the second draw round. The maximum amount is the average monthly payroll cost for an entity for 12 months prior to the loan. Election to borrow for 2019 times 2.5. As a multiplier for accommodations and food service industries, that multiplier is 3.5. Seasonal employers who utilize a monthly payroll of 12 weeks between February 15th in 2019 and February 15, 2020. The maximum amount for this PPP is $2 million. The first round was $10 million. Next slide. For the second round, for the second round of PPP, you will apply like you're applying for the first round. You need the completed application form. You have to do your average payroll like the first round, proof of payroll costs, proof of ownership, and for C corporations, if you're a partnership, your Schedule K and your Schedule K1, articles of incorporation, and bylaws you have to give to your lender. Next slide. Your clients have to give to your lender, their lenders. Next. PPP application document for sole and independent contractors is their 2019 RS 1040. And the line on that is very important, is line 15 on the Schedule C. And for independent contractors, the W-9s that they get. Next slide. This is a detailed payroll expense summary that we discussed. I break them out so you can see the employee payroll costs, which we discussed, the group health insurance, the employer's portion for your clients, the dental and vision plan, if they got any disability, life insurance, and ownership costs. And for any, if you got any employers that make $100,000, the cap for the 8-week period is $15,000, and the cap for the 24-week period is $46,000. Next. Next. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. The other expenses is for the PPP time off for employees, pension and retirement plans, federal income tax, your FICA, state unemployment tax, insurance, utilities, rent, interest, and the new things that they added is the business software that we discussed earlier, costs of related property damage and vandalism, suppliers costs, essential to operations of business, the PPP, but the PPP must be federal or state approved PPP. Next slide. The loan forgiveness, that's a very important part for both parts, either the first round and the second round. Costs incurred may be between the original date of which you receive your loan and the ending date, and it can go up from 8 to 24 weeks. And your operating costs includes the payroll, qualified mortgage interest, rents, utility, operational costs, covered property costs, suppliers costs, and workers' comp. I'm sorry, and workers' protection expenses. But the minimum, you still have to use 60% of your funds for is the payroll, okay? But you can use 100% of your payroll costs can count for total forgiveness if it exceeds your loan amount. Now, I've done a few like that where it was 24 months of payroll costs. You got your PP loan exceeded the amount of loan, so the payback amount, the total amount of the loan was forgiven. The amount of loan forgiveness can be reduced if the number of employees that you had during that period goes down, or you reduce their wages and salaries by 25% or more. Next. New PPP loan forgiveness be largely remain the same. A few minor changes. The PPP program is open March 31st to the 22nd, 2021 until the funding is exhausted. Have your 501c36, they're now available for local media organizations, housing cooperatives can now apply for the loans. You can also, some of your clients might even qualify for employee retention of tax credit, which we'll discuss on the next slide. The loan still is, the maximum loan is still $2 million, which was reduced down to $10 million. The group insurance, no, go back. The group insurance payments can be included in the PPP loans now. Seasonal employers have a greater flexibility in packing 12-week period between February 15th, 2019 and February 15th, 2020 to determine their payroll costs and the maximum amount of their loan that they can request. Next slide now. A new business is defined as existing no more than a year before February 15, 2019. They can still receive, apply for the PPP loan if they didn't do it in the first round. New businesses can be eligible for the loans that a multiplier 2.5 times the average monthly payroll, but the average payroll will be calculated during the entire period of its operation that it operated. The sum of monthly payroll will be divided by the months that the payroll was ran to find the average amount of payroll that they can apply for. Next. Other small business programs. The expandable tax retention tax credit is a new law. The credit expires June 30th, 2021. The prior credit was 50% on 10,000, and the qualifying ranges from the whole year or the maximum amount of $5,000 per employee. The new credit is 70,000 of 10,000 of the wages per quarter, with a maximum of 14,000 per employee through June 30th. The new law also expands employers who are eligible. Prior to the law, the employees' retention tax applied only to employees who experienced a decline in gross revenue of more than 50% in a quarter compared to the same quarter in 2019. The new eligibility requirement includes employees who experience a decline of more than 20%, so to reduce the amount of loss so more people can get funds. Next slide. EDL grants. These grants were $10,000. Priority for the full-time EDL grant were given to small business with employees less than 300 employees. They must be located in the low-income neighborhoods which experience 30% reduction in gross revenues at any 8-week period through March 2nd to December 31st, 2020. They must compare to a comparatively 8-week period for March 20. If you meet the description of receive the grant and you get less than $10,000, you can reapply for to receive the difference. An example of that would be if you had a client that they got a grant for like $8,000, they can apply for to get the additional $2,000 to make up the 10. There are also grants for sheltered venue operators, and these are for people who had live venue operators such as theaters, production, live producing, and museums, people where their ticket sales are captured in their revenue. If they got a 25% drop in their revenue, they can apply for this grant. And the grants are equal to less than $10 million, or 45% of gross earned revenue in 2019. The grants must be used to specify expenses such as payroll, rent, utilities, and personal protective equipment, same as it would be required for the PPP loan. Next slide. The SBA loan forgiveness. Borrowers with approved SBA loans and the CARES Act will receive additional 3 months of payments beginning in February 2021. But these payments are capped at $9,000 for the new SBA loans that will be made approved between December 22nd, 2020 and September 30, 2020 will receive additional 6 months government payment of principal and interest, also be capped at $9,000 per month. Next. Some important deadlines. The PPP the PP phase one deadline is March 31st. The second round is deadline is December 31st, 2001. But the funds will be available for the first round starting January the 11th, which is Monday. The second round PP loans will be available January the 13th. So you got to start preparing your clients to receive, prepare them to go to their lenders to file for their PP loans and get their paperwork in order. Next slide. And if you got any questions or you want to contact me and ask me any additional questions, you can call me at my phone, email me with your particular question if you got any additional questions. Tijuana.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Anthony, for that information. So now we are going to open the floor up for questions. And I have received a couple of questions in the chat box. So I encourage you, if you have any questions or if there's anything that you'd like to know that we can assist you with, please go ahead and enter that into the chat box. And the first question is, when I called the SBA, I was informed that clients who previously received EIDL funds, the EIDL funds, could not submit new applications. I was told they should submit an email with supporting documentation to request an increase. This is the process I followed for 2 of my clients, and they haven't received an update yet. Was that not the procedure?
That was the procedure at the time. As you know, these things are very fluid, and I think that's going to be a more clearly defined procedure as it gets closer to Monday, really.
Is there anything else, any other information or guidance you can provide her? What she's saying is she followed the process for 2 of her clients, and she has not heard any update from the SBA about the EIDL. Do you have any additional information you can give her?
If she give me her send me her contact information, I'll do some additional research and find out why.
Okay. And that message came from Ms. Davis. So if you would do that, that would be great. I think I have another question. Do you know when the banks and credit unions are expected to open applications to the second round?
I think it's scheduled for January the 13th.
Okay, so that is next week.
Yes, there's a SBA just sent out an alert. Matter of fact, a couple of hours ago.
Okay, excellent. If you have any questions, please, or if you would like anything in the statement or anything you'd like to make, please go ahead and do that. Another question is, I think I have one more. What are the changes in round 2 for restaurants, meeting facilities, and meeting planners?
They qualify to file for, hold on for a second. They qualify to file for a grant, or they can, just a second. They can file for the Shared Venture Operators Grant.
Okay, and I have another question. I have a client who is an entertainer, and all of his members are independent contractors. They receive 1099. What is he eligible for?
He might be eligible for the grant since does his venue require tickets? He sell ticket sales?
No, he's an entertainer, not a venue.
Oh, okay. Does he give a 1099? Does he have a 1099? He can file as a sole proprietor.
Okay. If we did not receive PPP funding in round 1, Is it too late to apply?
No,
Can,
you
can,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
You can apply if you didn't get any funding in round one. You can apply again, like this is round one for you, but it's going to be full based on first come first serve. The first applications
And
that get approved, they're going to approve until the money runs out.
okay, so there's still money left in round
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Okay. And the follow-up question was, can my client apply for round one and round two funding?
No.
Okay. So would they have to apply for
They have to.
round one?
Yes. Yes.
So they can't apply for round two if they haven't applied for round one?
No, they only can apply for round one.
Okay. Ms. Sumter, I think she has something. Let me see if I can. Can we unmute Ms. Sumter? I think she wants to make a statement, Tiffany.
Am I
Okay, Ms.
unmuted?
Sumter? Yes, ma'am,
Yes.
go ahead.
Thank you so very, very much. And I certainly want to thank Anthony for all of this. I wanted to point out too that for those who did not apply for round one, you have until March 31st and the round one rules will apply. So if you want to still go under the round one, you have to March 31st. Then after that is over, you move into PPP 2, which will run until December 2021. Now the restaurants, we know how much they've suffered. So there will be allowed to have more than, I think it's 3.5, but
Yeah.
understand that all we are going by right now is what the law says. The rules should hit no later than Monday. And at that time, we'll have the one pager for the forgiveness for those who are under 150. And at that time, we'll have additional rules that may or might change. So what we thought and what Anthony is providing you is a very, very fluid something, because the one thing we are very convinced of, you must get your clients ready now. Because interestingly enough, they made provisions for those of us who had very small clients. And they're going to open banks such as Optus, CDFIs next week. It might even be Monday or Tuesday for several days, and they're the only ones who will be able to receive applications. So we thought there was an urgency to come to you so that you would really see how important it is to be aggressively working for your client to get this information in. But one thing we really want you to know, everything we're telling you will change, change, change. Right now, we know the only ones eligible are those who've had a 25% loss from quarter by quarter. However, I'm convinced that that will change again. So we need you, and that was why we wanted to work with you, so we could continue to provide you information. And Anthony has provided you his email and number. So we know there's going to be plenty of calls. It's probably far better to get an email because the same answer can go out to more than one. So I really thank you. And if you have any other questions, we certainly will continue entertaining them.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sumter. And we have received a couple of additional questions. The first one, Anthony, is, can you repeat the name of the grant for restaurants?
You talking about the grants for shuttered venue operators? That's the restaurant will apply for normal PPP loan.
Okay,
at a rate of 3.5%.
okay. Now, Erica, you asked that question. If that didn't answer your question, please give a follow-up. And we have another question, Anthony. Will the EIDL additional 9K be automatic, or is there a form that will have to be filled out?
I am not sure, but I doubt if it's going to be automatic. You have to apply for the additional funds that you didn't get for the first time.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more questions?
You can email me your questions at a
Okay.
later date.
Well, if we do not have, okay, I'm sorry, I do have a couple more questions. Just to let you all know that we will share this PowerPoint as well as the recorded version of this so that you'll be able to review it later and have it as a reference. We have another question. I have a client who did not start his business until June 2020 because he was in operation in June in 2019. Is he eligible to apply?
You said he didn't start his business
Until June 2020.
I think the cutoff was February 15th, 2020. March. Yeah, I
So
think
in that case, he is not eligible to apply?
correct. He got to start his business for February 15th, 2020.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds for additional questions to come in, and then I'll ask Ms. Sumter to go ahead and do a quick wrap up for us. So if we have any more questions, will you please go ahead and enter them now? And if you do have one subsequently, do not hesitate to give us a telephone call or send an email to Anthony. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to read what Erica Wade, Erica's with Richland County. I'm going to read what she wrote. Launched business in early 2020. Noticed that requirements are focused around restaurants that have been in business 3 years, and they have to show tax filings. Also have to show revenue of, less than 100K. What is available for new businesses that can't really generate that level of revenue because of COVID and need the startup loan? So Tiffany, I'm going to ask you if you can to unmute Erica so that if you can, so that she can ask her question. And I'm going to read again what she said. And then maybe by that time, we'll be able to unmute her. So Anthony, her question is, it looks like the business was launched in early 2020. The requirements focused around, the requirements was focused around businesses that were in business for 3 years and have tax filings to show. Tiffany, if you go ahead and unmute Erica. She wants to know what is available for new businesses that cannot generate that level of income of revenue because of COVID and they need a startup loan. Is there anything available for that?
She can apply for the EDI loan if she's in a low income area. Has her business been operating before February 15, 2020?
She said early 2020. Erica, I think you're unmuted now. Can you go ahead with your question?
Hey, Tijuana, that was actually an individual that was texting me the question that signed in under me also, wanted to get in on the webinar. But let's see, he said he needs it for startup capital. He texted me the same question. Do you see a 770 number on the call? Because he can give you more information as to what he's asking.
Okay.
It's
and this very well may be a call that is, since it's very specific, he probably needs to reach out to Anthony directly. So can we do that?
Because he said he has his hands raised. He's texting me He's calling me out of
Oh,
Atlanta,
okay.
actually. He said he has his hands raised. Um,
Hi, how you doing? I'm on mute now.
Okay, I see that.
Um, uh, First of all, greeting everybody. Thanks for taking my question. Yes, the question is really surrounded around restaurant business, and I actually launched in December of 19, but really kicked off in January, February of 20. So yes, I do fall into that category of
Mhm.
February. But I did look into the application on the SBA site and with the EDI loans, but most of the requirements that I ran into was having to have a business established for 3 years, have revenue greater than 100K, and have suffered losses because of that. And but because I opened up launched in early 2020, of course, I don't have greater than 100K, nor the 3 year that they required for tax returns. So, what my question again is, again, what is available for new business that looking for that new business capital to get started in lieu of COVID-19 and not really can open up the way I want to launch because of that.
Why don't you call me and we can take this offline?
Okay, definitely can do.
Okay.
Will
Thank,
do.
thank you. Go ahead, sir.
That was it.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, great. Thank you. Okay, and Cheryl Sally with the Women's Business Center also said if they are in the city of Columbia area with a city license, they can apply for the Cities Care Act loan. So just want to make you all aware of that. And also want to make sure that you all are aware that EDA loans are available as well. They are available throughout South Carolina. And Aisha Ward, I saw your hand raised. Did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aisha. I think you are unmuted. Okay, she says she's good. Okay, so everyone, I certainly want to thank you all. I think all of our questions have been asked at this point. We certainly appreciate your attending. And Ms. Sumter, if you are still on the line, we would love for you to wrap it up for us.
Tijuana, thank you so very much. I certainly want to thank all of you and want you to be reminded that this is a payroll protection plan. It is not a startup loan, even though there might be some other options. But if you started up and found yourself in a pickle because of shuttering or other things, there might be some other kinds of things you can do. But because it's a payroll protection plan, when you give the data, it is going to require either that you show your 1099, etc. So the reason we are talking to bookkeepers is we know that you don't normally do these things until March or April. We don't send our tax return in until the same time. But we needed some urgency, and we know you don't usually do it by the quarter. It's done for the year. But this is requiring right now some quarter by the quarter. But what I want you to keep in mind, just like the first PPP, there will be changes, changes, changes. And the reason we wanted to connect with you is so that we can make you aware and keep you updated on the changes. We understand that the restaurants have suffered severely, and I've talked to quite a few today already. So there is additional provisions for them. However, if you find that the PPP grant isn't the way to go, we absolutely want you to get that 150,000 form and get forgiven so it comes off of your books, whether it's on your balance sheet or your income statement. The other thing we want you to think about is what is the complete kind of package you need. There's a VA loan out there. VA is saying, we will waive it a certain amount of time. Miss Sally already talked to you about the EDA loan, but I really want you to be very, very cautious with your clients on loans. We do not want to overdebt them and they find that they cannot continue that business. So if there's anything we can do, we have Anthony there, Tijuana's there, Camille, Tiffany, me, any of us. Our job is to support you so you can support your clients. And hopefully we won't have to read continuously how minority businesses didn't get money. We'll read the message that the minority bookkeepers, etc., came to the plate and actively worked with their clients, and the minority businesses were funded. So again, thank you for coming on. We know it's a short notice, but we'll be having several of these as we go. And we're already planning another one to the bigger market that will have the CPA, SBA, and some others on, and we'll keep you abreast of that one. So thank you again.
Thank you all. Y'all take care. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Stay safe.